Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Let Me Finish. This is your boy Dom.
This is Gregory.
This is Antonio.
Oh, and we have a very special guest.
A very special guest this episode.
This is the missing piece of the puzzle. This is the what is for the quadruplets. We are called Pokemon together. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I still don't know where that name came from.
It's our best friend Daryl.
Go. Hi, everybody. Daryl here. Woo! Happy to be here. Insert the...
He'll add the
Also, I think we should start off with saying where the Pokemon origin came from, because it's an interesting story.
Yeah, I think that's Tone's story.
Oh, yeah.
Is it your story?
It started with me because, was it 2021? 2020 year was the year of my breakup, and I had all this drama, and I was like, laying all my, me and drama.
Oh, yeah, I remember the story.
Remember?
Hello, darkness, my whole...
All my shit about going to therapy and in the process of ending a relationship. And then one day I was like, I feel like I'm evolving through therapy. And then Greg called me a Charizard or something like that. I was going from a Charmander to a Charizard, and then the Pokemon, the name came about.
I must not have been there.
You were there.
I was there.
No,
you were in the chat.
No, he wasn't in the chat.
He was
yet.
late to the group chat.
He wasn't in the chat yet.
And we had to have a discussion.
Yeah.
Like, do we vote him in? And I think we all.
No, there was a whole
one
vote.
no.
Wow.
It was very Lux.
It was.
Daryl read
It was
everybody.
very Lux. Everybody went down. No, but yes, that is how, and we've been stuck with that name
Ever
since.
since.
So.
Ever since. And it's Pokemon.
Pokemon,
M-E-N,
yeah.
just
Yes.
for listeners.
It all
For
makes
plural.
sense now. Thank you for
Most of us are cisgendered
explaining
males,
that to me.
for the moment.
So, how was everyone's week? How's the week been for everyone?
Week was stressful, but it ended on a good note. And watched the Mavs game last night. Got Sonic slushies and put like alcohol in it.
Yeah.
So it turned into a night that was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. And I literally thought I was good today until I sat down to record, and I'm like, I have a hangover.
Those are the best.
Those are the best. My week has been great. It's my birthday week.
Oh yeah, we buried the lead.
I'm excited I've been having a lot of fun this week, hanging out with friends and hanging out with you guys tonight as well. Gonna have fun playing mini golf. I'm really excited about it and glad everybody's gonna be there. But yeah, it's been an awesome week. I love my birthday week. I love celebrating it with my friends. So yeah.
Yeah, my week's been good. I've been off work because I quit my job last week, and I start my new job tomorrow. So I've been chilling, getting a lot of shit done. Sorry, cursing too much. I'm getting a lot of stuff done and being productive. But it's been a good week, and I had a 4-hour lunch yesterday, but it was pretty good.
Daryl, how was your week been? You are a visitor right now, so.
Okay.
He was like, pause it. I need to ask you, can I cuss?
Well, I needed to ask. It's very Breakfast Club of me.
I'm just trying
all the interviewers ask, can I cuss?
That's very celebrity of you.
It is. It's very a brand. You have to make sure.
Antonio was trying to censor himself.
Make sure there's. Well, I'm a guest, I haven't had the pleasure of listening to any past episodes, and so wanted to make sure I knew the rules going in. No, my week has been good. I'm in town visiting. I only came up for Dom's birthday, no matter what he says. It was the only reason I came to town. Everything else is extracurricular.
Cap.
Wow, hurtful. No, yeah, it's been a really good week. Got here Thursday and be here till Monday through the whole weekend. So I'm excited to get into some more shenanigans.
Well, there's an event, right?
There is an event.
It just happens.
It doesn't. It happens at the same time as Don's birthday.
Just happened.
But Don's birthday is the actual event. That's what we're all here for.
Right.
The most important. So this week, everyone, we're going to be talking about dating apps. I think it's a topic that we all have sadly have a lot of experience with. So this is going to be a very interesting conversation. I guess we should start off by giving our overall view. What are your overall thoughts about dating apps?
Trash, but necessary evil.
Absolutely.
How are you gonna meet people?
Absolutely. No, I do. I think that's probably the most accurate description of them, because I think in 2023 everything's moving online, and then with the pandemic, like it just was really hard to meet in person. And so for the past 3 years, we've just gotten so used to, virtual things. And so, I think they can be really horrible at times, but they're kind of, I don't know if they're necessary, but I think they're, if you don't use them, you'll probably have a different time trying to date.
Yeah, I think for me, they have been both good and bad. It really just depends on how you're using them. I think it helps for those people who are socially awkward. It gives them more confidence to reach out to people they may not reach out to in person. So, there are some good and bads when it comes to using dating apps in my experience. But, I do think it is helpful for a lot of people.
Well, you found a man through a dating app, right?
I did.
Memphis.
Yep, we met through Tinder. And
wait, who's Memphis?
we do code names on this
for real people.
Yeah,
okay.
But yeah, we met.
That's why I asked the rules.
Yeah,
we
met on.
That's why I asked the rules.
This is fun.
We met
Keep
on
that
Tinder.
part in though.
Yeah, we met on Tinder, so that was my success for using an app, and I've been pretty lucky. I've met a lot of cool people on apps.
I'm a little conflicted because they are kind of necessary, but they're not. So I'm conflicted because they're fun for hookups, they're fun for engagements. They can also be trash because of toxicity, the heavy drug use, and like the 5 a.m. I just woke up. What you doing? I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. Like right now, for example, I'm not on apps at all. I've been off since I think the first of the year, end of the year, I've been off of it completely. And it's been a good detox for me to get away from it because it's made me feel a certain way the last couple months recently. So it's been good to get away from it. But I've actually what's conflicting is I'm probably sitting at this table right now because of apps. I've actually formed a lot of good friendships over the last 10, 12 years because of apps. I've also had a lot of bad relationships because of apps. I've had a lot of bad experiences because of apps. So it's like you make what you make of it, basically.
But have you had some good hookups from apps?
Oh, some fire hookups.
Yeah.
That's some bad ones too.
Right.
Those are some bad ones.
And it's the good ones are few and far between, but that's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
You get those good ones, and it's like, all right.
But I also think when you say apps, you have to categorize them correctly because not every app is the same.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like there are some apps that are like the only thing is for you to hook up. Like that's the whole point. Right. And so even the questions they ask are going to be very straight to the point, cut, uncut, sexual position, all that kind of stuff. Whereas something like Hinge, for example, is going to be like, name 3 places you'd like to go, or name 2 truths
What's
and
your
a
favorite
lie.
movie? If you could have any superpower.
Exactly, which is kind of corny, but like it is. But it gives you more of a chance to, if you would like to not look at a person as just an object of sex, you have that option. Yeah. Whereas I think on other apps, you have to try really hard not to look at them that way. Like Grindr's not set up for us to look at people as people. It just isn't, you know.
So with that, let me ask. Okay, so I've only ever used the hookup apps, right? I've never used like the Hinge or like the ones that are more for like serious
Bumble.
The ones Dom was on.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So for me, like for you guys who've been on those other apps, like is there really truly a difference? Because I feel like most of the apps are people are still trying to fuck.
Well, can I speak?
Is there really a difference?
Okay, so my experience has been better on the hookup apps, even for friendship, relationship, because that level of honesty of like cut, uncut, position, right? It's kind of cuts through the bullshit in a way that the Tinder, what's your favorite like movie? Like if you could have your dream job, what would it be?
Yeah.
That shit's like, then they ask you for your Snapchat, then
it's your Twitter next.
Then they ghost.
I think when it comes to apps and them being different, I think it feels the same because there's always going to be those people that are going to try to use it for, sexually, even though majority of the app may not feel like, as far as Tinder is concerned, like I feel like Tinder does ask more questions for your profile because they want to like find people that have similar interest in a way that doesn't feel sexual, but you always know there are going to be people on there looking for for sexual motive. So I think it's more the people that make it the same, not generally the app.
In my opinion, is Tinder is like gamified in a way that like I feel like dudes on there have Tinder brain where you be like, you know, chatting in the app and it's like all these questions and very like intense, and then you switch over to the like getting each other's phone number, and it's just that energy isn't there because their mind's still on the swipe.
No, I think that's valid. I think, but people, you know, there's all these studies that talk about social media in general and how it's conditioned us to talk to people differently, look at people differently.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the issue is people don't think of the apps as social media, but they are. They're a type of you know, interaction online, and we all know an online persona is going to speak to you differently than in person. But to Dom's point, I think also, if you go into it just wanting to hook up, you'll use Christian Mingle to hook up. Like it doesn't matter how well thought out the app is. If it asks you the deepest question you've ever asked, if your intention is to go in with hooking up, you'll use the app for that. And I do think there are apps that are set up for it, but I do think, to your point also, that if your intention is to hook up, that's what you're going to do, regardless of how well the app is trying to create a different user experience.
Is there an app that you all like the most? Like it's your go-to app if you're going to use it.
Grindr, it's, you know, that girl, right?
Okay, let's how about we just go through all like.
Okay.
So Grindr is what to you?
Grindr is like what?
Clapping them cheeks.
Yeah. Grindr is like Walmart, you know?
Not great value ass.
You'll find something you need.
The Walmart.
You know what? And there's only going to be 2 cashiers, and everything is self checkout at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can steal some shit.
That is a very interesting way to look at it.
I don't disagree with it though.
I don't either.
I don't disagree.
So
with
what
it.
would
who's
Scruff be?
Scruff is Target.
That's
for sure. Because Scruff is Target. Because Target is for people who don't need a lot of things but want a lot of things.
Right.
That's what you.
And they
want
nicer things.
They want nicer things.
Yes.
It's actually not that much nicer than Walmart, but it's presented as nicer.
Yes.
And that's what Scruff is. It's the people on there are presented as nicer. They are just as trash, but the profile pics have better lighting, and that's great.
And I think that's probably why I like Scruff was like the app I catered to the most when I was on the apps. Like Scruff is, I don't know, it felt more sophisticated in a way.
Target.
You know,
Target.
And I guess I do get that same feeling when I go to Target.
When you go to Target, you get a Starbucks. You smell the little pizza that they cook in the corner.
You feel
all the carts always work. Like it's just different.
The wheels be working.
It's just the wheels be working.
They do not squeak.
They don't. They're very smooth.
And then you go to Target and you're like, oh, I need this and that and the other, and you walk out with like something you didn't even think you needed.
Ooh. That's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Okay, so Scruff is Target.
Sniffies is like Dollar
Who's
General.
Big Lots? Who's Big Lots?
What?
It's not Big Lots. Sniffies is Big Lots. Absolutely.
It really is.
Sniffies is Dollar General, Family Dollar, convenience store.
What's the other one? I was thinking the bear one.
Oh, Growler.
Yeah. What's that?
Growler. You know what Growler? I don't know what kind of store. No, I don't know what kind of store. You know what? It might be. What were you gonna say?
It's like a specialty needs store. You're going there for a
It's smaller.
So what's like a specialty needs store that?
But I don't want to be like a Home Depot. Because Home Depot's big. Growler's got to be a store.
And most of them are bigger guys on there.
Well, but there's not a lot of options.
So like maybe that's Big Lots.
No, because I don't know. Growler's very. I like the Aldi idea though, because I think it's people don't think about it a lot, and only a few people shop at it, and those few people who shop at it love it. Those people who shop at it, they love it.
They swear by it.
They literally or like an HEB. Like HEB is hyper specific in San Antonio. I didn't know anything about HEB till I moved down there,
and everybody loves it.
Everybody loves it. So I feel like it's a localized thing. Growler's very localized.
For sure. Okay, so let's go to the Hinges and the Tinders. Like Tinder is like
HEB.
HEB. I want to say it's like Whole Foods.
No, Tinder is Trader Joe's. You know why? Because people who shop at Trader Joe's think they're better than people who shop other places, but their wine is still $2.
Yeah, so right.
it's still $2, and everybody who goes there still has the same type of hypertension I have. So they're not any better than me because they shop or organically. That's exactly what they are.
I do shop at Trader Joe's, but
me too.
Yeah.
Well, I will not change my statement. But
That proves the point.
My statement will not be changing. It was actually intensified because I can think of it. Maybe a Whole Foods, but I see it as more like a Trader Joe's.
And Trader Joe's has never let me down, and neither has Tinder.
Okay.
So.
Well, what's the Tinder success story for you then?
My current relationship,
Memphis.
There you go.
And relate that to like something you bought at Trader Joe's that never let you down.
the orange chicken.
That shit, it's
So
fire.
Memphis is your orange
It's
chicken.
fire.
That is so
chicken,
sweet.
okay.
Memphis
And
is
a
your
stir
orange
fry.
chicken.
It's so good.
You're my orange chicken.
And a stir fry.
Make sure
Okay.
you tell them that when you
when I get home,
You're my
okay.
orange chicken.
You're my orange
Well,
chicken. I'll be confused as
It's
fuck.
very confused.
Well, speaking of success stories, and that's that list, but guys, right? You see, we talked about this last week.
We did.
You have a list. You do have
I
kind
do.
of a list.
Oh, wait.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been to speech therapy. What about you, Derek?
I did go to speech therapy.
No way.
Yeah.
We
We've all
found
been
out
speech
that.
I feel like that was
Full
just like in fashion
circle.
in the 90s.
It really
Right.
was.
Yeah, I went to speech therapy, so I have a stutter still. It's nowhere near as bad as it was.
Same.
But I had a stutter really bad growing up. Like I literally could not get words out. And I remember, in fact, I had to leave my school and go to another school sometimes.
Wow,
and they had
yeah.
to like do like 30-minute hour classes with me and it didn't help. All she did was say talk slower, and I was like, "You're gonna get me beat up, man." I'm like, I'm gonna get bullied. I already stuttered, so my two options are trip over my words or sound like I can't talk.
I would
Right.
trip over my words. Honestly.
I would have rather been put in boxing classes. Like that would have been more helpful. Because this isn't changing anything at all.
I'm glad
But
you
no,
asked that
yeah.
question. A full circle
Yeah.
moment. So, I was going to ask, what are some of you guys' success stories when it comes to using apps? Mine is my current relationship. That's one of my success stories. But do you all have some?
Yeah, I think for me, some of my success stories are, again, like I said earlier, sitting at this table. It actually involved an app, meeting somebody at this table on this podcast on the app.
Do you care to say?
Are we just gonna say it?
I mean, I think we know who it is here.
Say the code, Mike. The person's code name.
You just said mine. So at this point,
So me and G or Greg, we actually met on an app years ago, and
let's tell that story. Let's just start from the beginning on that. How was that?
Do y'all know the story?
What is Greg's online persona like?
do y'all know the story?
I've never tried to chat with Greg online.
So I don't remember the chat we had. I just remember like it was like,
Was
hey,
he aggressive?
No, because I don't like aggressive. Aggressive turns me off.
Did he say BBC at all?
No, he did not say BBC.
Okay.
That's
Absolutely not.
also a turn off. BBC's a turn off.
What app was it?
It
was Scruff.
Scruff.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Target of them
The
all.
Target.
The Target, right? So I'm like,
So
all right.
y'all had a little cute meet inside Target.
Cute little meetup, and it was just like, hey, like, what's up? What's going on? What are you doing? Hanging out. And then I think we went to hang out. You know what it was? Me and Greg had like similar taste in music, which being gay, like I don't listen to Britney Spears or
Madonna.
Ariana Grande, whoever.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool.
I don't
to me.
think that's what the girls are listening to these days.
The girls still listen to Ariana.
I think they do.
The girls still listen to Ariana.
Okay,
I
this
listen to Ariana.
This is 2017, so Doja Cat wasn't hot yet, right? So
What's happening? What's going on right now?
He's setting the scene.
I'm setting the scene. Yeah, I'm setting the scene. So anyway, Greg had similar taste in music, and I was like, oh, a gay person that has similar taste in music than me. It was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. So I remember specifically after we were hanging out a couple times, it was like, hey, whatever happens, let's just be friends. Greg said that, and it's kind of stuck to this day. So it's been.
Look at you now.
So Greg said it, but you didn't say it.
No, he said it, but
He was thinking it.
But I fully agreed. I was like, all right, it doesn't work out. Let's just be friends, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what happened. So
That's like the first thing we said to each other. We're like, you seem cool, so like,
Yeah.
whatever happens from here, let's like.
because we just vibe. It was like a vibe. It was a vibe.
Yeah.
Well, good.
So, yeah.
That's cool. I actually do have one. One of my closest friends' name is Brian. He lives in Indiana. We met on Scruff, back in 2018 or 19, probably 2019ish, maybe 18. It was somewhere around that time. And he
was Doja Cat hot yet?
You know what? I think she only had one song out, and I think she was still trying to figure out what she was as an artist.
She was cowboy.
Yeah, she was still on SoundCloud.
Okay.
Yeah, she was still a SoundCloud rapper. She wasn't signed yet. I don't know who was hot back then. I don't know. But yeah, me and Brian. It's actually interesting because I've never been somebody who thought I could form a friendship long distance. But me and Brian have actually only met up in person 3 times in our life.
Wow, okay.
And most of it has just been through phone calls, FaceTime, and I've visited him a couple times. But he's probably one of my closest friends. We talk every day. Talked to him today, and that was through Scruff.
Yeah.
So it started, just kind of like talking about hooking up maybe and all that stuff, and then kind of morphed. And it's like actually I feel kind of safe with you. Like you're a really cool person, and so he's been one of my closest friends.
Okay.
To this day.
I mean, I think that is like one of the, I don't want to say beautiful because it's like kind of toxic, but like the fact that you do like hook up with people at a certain point, it's a certain thing at a certain time, and then just like I have multiple people that just I talk to, like we text.
Yeah.
We don't hang out. Maybe they live in different cities, but it's just like you got people that have your back.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a success story, or is yours the same as Antonio's?
I would consider that like near the top, right? Okay. I would say, I've gotten long-term relationships out of it.
Yeah.
That were, good and bad, toxic. And I don't think that I would have met those people if it hadn't been for the apps, right? So, like, that brings up kind of the next topic, like online dating versus IRL.
I don't know. I feel like meeting someone in person is just, I think it's a different type of vibe.
For sure.
I've been lucky enough to be in both situations. Like my last relationship, we met in person first, and then kind of became a couple after that. And then the one I'm in now, we met on Tinder. So I think they're both good and bad. I think it's in a perfect world, you would just love to go somewhere and meet somebody and have genuine conversations with them in person, and that be your story with how you met. But that just doesn't really happen these days.
It doesn't happen, but that crush hits harder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's all encompassing, where the app is very like, I don't know. It's like, it's still in the app, right?
Yeah.
But you meet somebody in person, your whole body is like different. So.
Yeah.
I think also you think of apps, the difference could also be regional, right? Like the ability to use it in a big city versus if you're in a smaller town or a smaller area, you might need apps. You might need something that's a little more able for you to connect with people. I think we're all from, pretty major cities or major states with places.
Not me.
Greg, I thought about it actually afterwards. I was like, damn, just over here. So just this side of the table. So the rest of you country bumpkins with your rural math and things. No, but because all of us have visited other places and we've used the apps probably to meet people because those places may not have had like clubs or something like that. Oh, let me ask, do y'all use the apps when y'all travel?
Oh, of course. I gotta check out the grid.
What is this oof? You said oof 3 times.
No, I'm sorry. Because when you mentioned like small towns, I was in Mississippi for like a couple months for a job I had years ago, and the grid was terrible.
Absolutely.
I had so many bad hookups.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. One quick story. Literally, the town was so small. I took an Uber to a hookup. Did my hookup, finished, called an Uber. It was the same person that picked me up and dropped me off.
That's
at the
same Uber driver?
At the Motel 6.
Was he just waiting outside?
No, there was nobody else getting the Ubers. I was the only person. And of course, I went to the Motel 6. And he knew what it was, but he didn't know it was a guy. But he was like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, sorry.
Take me home, sir. If you want 5 stars, get me out of here.
Long story, don't come in Mississippi. It's trash.
Oh, my gosh. You can't say that. You're going to get canceled by an entire state.
That's fine. It's Mississippi.
Y'all don't want to use code names. You're going to trash a whole state. What is happening right now?
Mississippi don't got internet, so it's fine.
Not have internet.
But they got Uber.
This is getting worse.
I know.
You are a PR nightmare.
Yeah.
They got DSL. They ain't got fiber.
The next episode y'all have is gonna say apology. We just want to apologize on behalf of our former castmate Antonio. He's no longer here. He's going to rehab for training.
And this is a statement we prepared for him.
And this is the statement that he wanted us to read for him while he gets the help that he needs in this time. No, I use it when I travel. It's been good when I've traveled overseas. It's especially when you don't really know the language or know kind of where things are. It's been good. I think like all things, it has its good, it has its bad, but yeah.
Overseas is in Mexico, is what you mean?
Overseas as in London and Paris. Don't try me. Don't try me.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely. My flights have been more than 2 hours. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
He tried.
Tried to come for me. You better stay over there, Appily, okay?
So, I mean, speaking of Appily, like going back to the small city, like bad hookups.
Oh, God.
But like it was nothing to drive 40 miles for a hookup. And now it's very like, oh, you're not 2 miles.
You're not 0.75?
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
For me, growing up in a small city, you know, I didn't use apps or anything like that. I was too scared to like meet or see somebody that I know, somebody may recognize me. So that's why I was so excited to go to college, because that's when I started first experiencing dating apps and dating websites. Did you guys use websites?
Not in college, no.
Yes.
And I'm glad I didn't. But I mean, I was pretty unfuckable, undateable.
Good Lord.
I mean, if I'm being real.
That's fair. No, I use Adam for Adam.
Adam for Adam was the first website
there was
I
this
got
other
on.
one called like Bearzone or something.
Gay.com.
That was one.
Bearzone, yeah. There were a few. And that's also the difference. Right now we have them on our phones.
Yeah.
Before you had to be by your laptop. Like to try to find desktop. To try to see did they message me back? It's been 5 hours, and you try to have a whole conversation with somebody.
Or writing down an address.
Writing down an address.
Or a MapQuest.
Printing it out. Just how old are we?
I had some dangerous times in college, and it's really scary. Do you guys have any horror stories?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
What are some horror stories you guys have from using the apps?
I feel like me and Greg talk about this actually all the time.
Right. And it's just like, there's so many.
There really are.
It's hard to pick one.
One that stands out.
Oh, I need more time.
But to the dangerous point, yeah, I've had definitely, or not even like dangerous hookups, but like thinking just the reality, right? The hookup culture, thinking just the reality of I'm going to a stranger's house. I am having sex with them, which is in itself a vulnerable thing. Yeah. I'm not focused on my surroundings while I'm having sex with someone, right? Like it's just what's going on. And then on top of that, how many times I thought about, you know, somebody offered me something to drink and I took it and not even thought about what could be there, what could be in that. And then you hear, you know, stories of people who get hurt. And I don't think anybody thinks it can happen to them, but it can.
It always flashes through your mind. And then it always turns out being okay, you know, but there's always like, what if it's not?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That one story.
I remember watching the Jeffrey Dahmer thing on Netflix and everything, and just looking at those stories, and it's like, man, like I really did that.
Yeah.
Like I went to strangers' apartments or invited people to my place, and I could have not came back. You know, so it just makes you think about some of the crazy stuff that we've been through.
Yeah, I think we're all alive, but a couple of my incidences are the pilot in Atlanta who had a brownout and wanted to keep going, which that's a no-no.
Can you explain for our audience what a brownout is?
Without being too graphic, it's when someone they're not quite as clean as they thought they were in a certain area of the body.
Also called painting.
Painting, yes. And to wipe it off and say, all right, I'm good. No, I'm not good. That happened in Atlanta way back in the day. Something that happened a couple years ago is I've had 2 incidences of high drug use where I didn't realize someone was really extremely high on something and they offered me something and I said, I'm okay. And having multiple TVs, they probably had cameras. There was one time up near North Dallas where some guy had this really nasty, it was a nice apartment, but it was nasty inside. And he was trying to record me. He had a camera on a pile of clothes And I said, hey, we're not doing that. He says, oh, it's a dead phone anyway, but it was positioned on his power close to record.
Right.
There was a guy who had pictures, which I'm normally good about this, right? So there was a guy who had these photos on his profile that were probably like 15 years older, but I somehow didn't catch it. And I show up and I'm like, oh, I'm at the wrong house. He's like, oh, come on in. And then there was somebody else there. And the funny part about that was other guy, me and him ended up being pretty cool. We hooked up later elsewhere, but we were both like, hey, this ain't it. So I've had a lot of horror stories, but.
Are you still friends with this also refugee to this day?
No. It was like a one time. We hooked up like twice and it was like whatever. So, okay. Yeah.
I think everybody pretty much knows one of my horror stories.
And I've been waiting for this moment.
Wait, no. Do I know this?
Does he know this?
I don't know.
This is an epic story.
I remember.
Give Dom the floor immediately.
I remember being in college and just being so excited to like finally be able to meet guys and to explore, my gay life, as you would say. My gay life. So I was on Adam for Adam, and I was chatting with people. Me and this guy like had a great conversation, and it was an older guy, of course, and so we talked for like 2 weeks before we agreed to meet in person. I didn't have a car at the time. I was in college. And he offered to come and get me and take me out to lunch and then bring me back to campus. So I was like, okay, cool. So this guy is like this. His pictures, he was like a beefy guy, like muscular and had a beard. And, this is, the stuff, the guys that I was into at the time. And he pulls up and I open the door and I just want to preface this and say I have nothing against handicapped people at all.
Wow,
oh my God.
I just want to say that first.
Y'all are finna be
canceled. So I open the door. He is significantly smaller than he was in his pictures. He was, very thinner. And one thing I also noticed that he had a very small hand. He had a really tiny hand. Think Scary Movie, the butler with the small hand. It was kind of something like that.
When he was stirring the mashed potato with his handicapped hand.
I'm not gonna laugh. It's not funny for me anymore.
You're smiling though. Everybody at home, he's smiling.
You laughed last year.
I just, and I reluctantly got in the car and he took me to CC's Pizza, and I just remember sitting there and I just. First of all, as CC's Pizza is a luxury for somebody in college at the time, but I couldn't even eat, you guys. Like, I couldn't eat. My stomach was just turning the whole time because I'm sitting there in front of a guy who looks nothing like the pictures that were presented to me, and he has this handicap that he didn't tell me about. And I feel like, while I feel like you don't have to explain it to people, but I feel like you also should say sometimes, just because it can be a little jarring sometimes when, if I'm not aware of it. So went to CC's Pizza. I couldn't really eat, and he was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing." Like,
He's like, "You barely touch your CC's.
You barely touch your chocolate covered pizza." What's wrong?
I was like, I'm okay. Like, I said, I'm just a little nervous.
You want some arcade tokens?
I was like, I'm just a little nervous. It's okay. And he told me about what he did. He was a manager for a sex store.
Okay.
And
we like managers, though.
Yeah.
Come on.
He managed a sex store, and he
That's
was
why he
like,
had the money to take you to CC's.
Right. Because he was like, well, do you want to go see the store? There's an arcade there. And I was like...
You're like, we got an arcade right here, but...
There's an arcade right there.
Mind you, I was like, an arcade? Like... That sounds cool at a sex store. I've never heard anything. I was so innocent.
Right.
Took me to this sex shop and he showed me around. I met the worker. She was really nice, and I had never been in one before. So seeing whips and chains and handcuffs and everything all over the place was interesting. Took me to the back to see the arcade. It was not an arcade, people.
I mean, it was.
It was at that point Dom learned the second definition of the word arcade.
Yes, it was these booths. It was pitch black, like 12 booths back there, and they all have like TV screens, and basically you can pick out a porn and go in a booth, and people can join you. I guess they call it an arcade because you can play. back there with people.
I think it's more so they'll get shut down by the police, but
probably
we'll go with that.
So yeah, that was very interesting. And instead of like him taking me back to campus, he was like, "Do you want to come back to my place?" And I was like, "Sure." So I went back to his place. And
so at this point, you're like kind of into it.
That's what it sounds like.
It was one of those situations I didn't know how to say no.
Yeah,
I felt like I was just too far.
That's a muscle.
It was too far gone at that point. So we went back to his place, and it's a nice house, but he had snakes. You guys, he had a room full of snakes. It was like 10 snakes.
He had a terrarium?
I don't know what it was.
First of all, great word.
Is that what that's called?
Great word.
I didn't know that.
Really proud of you for
I need
that,
to look
by
it
the
up.
way.
I don't know if I used it right.
I think you did.
He had
It's
like
fine.
10 or 9 snakes in like these cages. It was wild. He had like 3 dogs and a cat. It was like Animal Kingdom in there.
He had a tarantula, right?
I can't remember if there
It
was
makes
a
sense that
spider.
he would.
Yeah.
Probably, but it was a lot of reptiles and animals going on.
Not a rip.
So we sat on the couch and he wanted to watch a movie and cuddle, and it was, let's just say it was very uncomfortable. And I asked him to take me back to campus, and he took me back to campus, and I ghosted him, and I never talked to him again.
That's intense.
That's such
intense.
an intense story.
I want to come back to the how do you say no thing, because I think that's important for
Yes,
the
that
app. Because
is.
me and Greg talk about that a lot, like what happens if that happens. Like, but it made me, when you were talking, it made me think of another story that me and Dom both experienced that was dangerous.
What?
You probably don't
my
remember.
goodness.
New Year's.
When I got kidnapped.
We were Ubering.
Almost kidnapped.
So it was me, you, and our friend Donovan. I think Donovan was with us. Maybe.
We wrote with Donovan and Trent to the party.
Yeah.
Then
And then we left.
Yeah.
So me and Dom get in Uber. It's New Year's. And we're going to one of the local bars. And and the Uber driver, somewhere along the drive, realizes he knows Dom.
Yes.
And not only does he realize he knows Dom, he realizes Dom played him to the left. and proceeds to let him know, oh no, that's how I remember you.
Oh,
Yes.
so to the left, you
So
gave him the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
Yes.
I gave him the cold shoulder.
And so we get to the bar, and this, I will take full ownership of this. Daryl was not a good friend. I will blame the alcohol because I don't want to take actual ownership, because that's my kink, is to not take ownership. But I was not a good friend in this scenario. I was asked to get out the car.
Yes.
And I did, so they could have a conversation.
He was
and
like-
he locked the door
locked the door.
behind me.
And he turned around to me and he was like, "I just want to let you know that I'm really feeling you, and I feel like we had a good conversation.
Now,
I don't know why
mind you,
didn't
this
give
is
me
the
a
conversation
chance."
inside. Daryl's outside, like, let
Yes.
me
Daryl's
in,
knocking
let
on the
me
window,
in,
and I was like-
let me in.
And I was like,
thought you walked off.
No. After I realized he locked the door, I was like, my friend finna get taken. I'm finna have to be Liam Neeson on New Year's. My friend finna get rolled off with. And I'm not gonna be able to find him. Oh my God. So
I was
I'm
like, "Can you please unlock the door?"
I'm
And-
trying to get in this man's car.
And
I'm
this-
begging on this man's car.
And he has the audacity to tell me, "If you give me a kiss on my cheek, I will unlock the door."
Which for everyone listening, that's called rape, because that's not consent. That's
was-
sexual assault.
But Daryl, in that moment, you were like, give him a kiss.
No, in that moment, I was like, open this damn door.
So I gave him a little peck on the cheek, and he unlocked the door, and I got out the car, and I blocked him immediately.
Wait.
It was very scary.
Did you report him on Uber or Lyft?
No, I did. See,
I
didn't
don't
even think that was a
even think we
thing.
thought
Like,
about that.
No.
This was
At the time,
Uber's
okay.
been around a while, but I don't think we really even thought about that anymore. But I do think about that, like, really randomly, because while it's funny, it could have went really
coulda
left.
went left.
Yeah.
Like if he was I mean, he is crazy, obviously.
drove off.
But if he would have drove off, I would have had, and we were both pretty intoxicated, because we were.
Yeah.
That's why we
Ubered in the first place. Yeah.
So it was, neither one of us were, really level-headed enough to make wise choices at that point. And so I think about, when you started telling your story, I thought that's what the one you were going to tell.
Yeah.
But it made me think about that New Year's one.
I forgot all about that. See, we definitely have had some
There's
horror
a
stories.
lot that you don't remember. But I think, to the question, me and Greg talk about it a lot, is how do you set those boundaries online? 'Cause I think that's another thing that makes this app's hard, is you have to set boundaries. You have to tell people like what you're okay with, what you're not okay with. You know, I've had to basically tell people, hey, I'm not trying to hook up with you because of that. I've walked in and they don't look how they say, which I hate that for people because I know some people just don't feel confident in how they look.
Yeah.
Or they know that the actual them may not get the same type of attention if they do certain things, which I hate, but it's not gonna make me change my mind seeing you in person.
Well, and they're banking on the fact that they're there and you're just like, I guess I'll go through with it, right?
And it's also very Southern. I don't know of other reasons. Very Southern to kind of just be status quo and be polite and not hurt people's feelings or be offensive.
Is that what it is? Like
I think that's part.
I think that's what it was for me.
I think it is. I'm not saying Southern people just don't let people walk over, but I'm saying I think it's very Southern to be like, how Southern is it that when somebody bumps into you, you say, "Oh, my bad." And it's like, but that's not. I didn't bump into you, but why do I? Because that's kind of just how we're raised, that politeness.
Yeah.
So I think that translates over to the apps, and people use that.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I would say. Oh,
yeah, you go ahead.
Sorry, I would say saying no and boundaries. That's like a whole other topic, but yeah, no. Ultimately it's about you as a person, right? Because like if you're not comfortable, you shouldn't do it.
Right.
Clearly, Dom wins in that category of horror stories because I had no idea about that last story. So clearly you want it, but no, boundaries are important. I mean, but it's all about you ultimately. Like, I've gotten to the point in life where I'm like, I don't care about what someone else's feel. If I don't feel right about it, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go through with it. And if I'm not comfortable, the whole situation's not going to act out right. So
yeah, you have to. It starts with setting those boundaries yourself.
Yeah,
you have to set them for yourself. Tell yourself what you are going to allow and not allow, or accept and not accept. And you have to stick with it. You have to be consistent with those boundaries and those rules that you set for yourself. And I think that's where it starts.
How many times have y'all ever done the like, hey, I'm going to this person's house, and you text a friend, hey, this is where I'm headed. If I don't text you back in like 30 minutes, call me. If I don't know. Have y'all ever done that?
Not enough.
I've never done it.
Maybe I just go to some hood ass places. Okay? Maybe I go to some dangerous places, but I admit it. But I've definitely done that where I've been like, here's this person's picture. Here's this address. If you don't hear from me in about 30 minutes, I need you to raise hell. I need you to call somebody. I need you to do something. So
I think that's more, I hate to say this, but that feels more of like a hetero thing. I feel like more straight people. I feel like women do that a lot too.
It is more for women, but I will say I've not done it.
Did you call me bitch?
I think kind of did.
Did you call me bitch?
I haven't done it, but long story short, I had an ex who we were open with years ago. Not Omaha, you know Omaha. Not him, but
these cold names.
I had an ex I was with.
Wasn't that Peyton Manning snap call?
Yeah, it was. I had an ex I dated years ago. We were like open. It was like actually a healthy open relationship, but there was one time he was like, I was like, just don't go to that house. The neighborhood looked a little sketchy, and we had a thing. If something happens, call police. So I had that happen one time with someone I dated. But yeah,
I don't think it's a hetero thing. I think it's just wise to do.
It's definitely
let someone, if you feel like in your gut, hey, this could be risky. And first of all, that might be a sign you need to be doing it.
Right.
But if you still decide to go forward with it, then that at least be wise enough to let someone know where you are so that you can be, so that someone's just aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just for our community, everything is so secretive already.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think a lot of the times we don't want to tell people where we're going at 4:00 in the morning
Which means we should tell them.
Which
Absolutely.
we definitely should tell
Absolutely.
them. But I think that stops us a lot of the time because we don't want to feel shame of like telling somebody we're about to go hook up or something.
But hopefully
like that.
you have that friend now.
Yeah, if you don't have that friend,
to.
You need that friend.
Yes.
Yeah. Not about saying put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
But
or also just if you have an iPhone, share your location with a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually is a very helpful thing.
It's super helpful because they can always just kind of check in. So
There's that.
There's our PSA.
Yeah. Sure.
We just want everyone to be safe out there.
Ghosting? Are we going to talk about ghosting?
I want to talk about ghosting in terms of you ghosting somebody or being ghosted, the feelings that you feel, or are you more open and honest, like, this ain't doing what it did, I need to step back? Like, what?
I'm ghosting someone right now that's in top secret.
Speaking of.
He is left on red right now.
Bitch on cold Casper.
Sorry.
Why are you ghosting them?
All right, so the reason I'm ghosting this person is that I met this person a couple years ago. They were in town for TBRU or something, and we hooked up and whatever. But the problem is that I am not in the same space I was when I hooked up with that person years ago.
For sure.
And they're still thinking of me as that same person. So
yeah.
honestly, the most part of it is I just don't want to hook up.
Have you told them that? Have y'all had that conversation? Hey, I'm just not.
I've ghosted him for most of this year. And he still doesn't get it, right? But I'm going to have the conversation, so that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, we'll have that conversation. But basically, I'm not meeting him because I'm leaving tomorrow anyway. It's not happening because it ain't it.
I would say this. I try to be honest. I really do because I hate ghosting because I've been ghosted and I hate the feeling.
Yes.
It is so, to me, it
makes you feel crazy.
It makes you feel crazy. I think it's kind of gaslighting in a way because you're left kind of having to answer your own questions about what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Yeah. Is there something wrong with them? It kind of keeps you in this cycle, and I feel like the whole point, regardless of what you think, social media in general, apps in general, are about connections, and ghosting is kind of like hitting the emergency brake on something that's moving. You know, that's always going to damage whatever is moving because that's not how you stop something that moves. That's not the safe way to stop it. And so I think that's what ghosting kind of can be in a way, really jarring, really abrupt. But I say that to say I try to be honest, but I do think that there are times where it's just, hey, you're not getting it. Like, you're not getting what I'm trying to tell you, so I'm just not going to respond anymore. Which I don't necessarily think I would call that ghosting.
No.
I think if you tell somebody
if you try
that you're not interested. Now, I will just kind of let people who I'm not interested in, if they hit me up, I may not respond. I don't know if that's considered ghosting. I think
that's maybe just a form of rejection.
Yeah. Which, I mean, everybody gets rejected. Everybody gets rejected now. But yeah, I'm a big anti-ghoster. I feel like, you know, I was listening to a therapist on YouTube talk about it. She was fielding relationship questions, and ghosting came up, and she had a really unique perspective on it, where it was basically saying, by not ghosting, you're preparing yourself for when you do have a relationship to have hard conversations. Yeah. Because when you ghost, you're trying to avoid having to have a hard conversation.
Right.
So if you practice that muscle now, you'll be able to, when you actually do want to connect with somebody, be able to have that tough conversation of setting boundaries, or things you like or things you don't like, or whatever. And so I thought that was a unique, because that's really why people ghost, right? Like they don't want to they don't want to make it awkward. They don't want to say, I don't like you, I'm not into you. And I will say the times that people on Grindr or Scruff have told me, hey, we're not a match, we're not our type, it hurts to be rejected, but it's also been helpful in the long run to be like, oh shit, yeah, like I'm just not their type. That's perfectly fine.
Because I imagine nothing like lingers. You're not wondering.
Yeah. Which and even that, nobody really needs to always have that. If they don't, no answer is an answer. Yeah, it is. But I think ghosting is when you have created some type of relational connection with the person, and then you just sever it without any kind of warning, without any kind of explanation.
Something else that I wanted to touch on, and we spoke about this yesterday when we were at lunch. What do you guys feel about preferences on dating apps?
It's life.
It's everybody has their thing. I think you just always got to be kind of open. And I will say, like, IRL, I'm more like open to what not. I know my dating history isn't, right? Where it's like I'm more like into this person, but if you're on the app, you're gonna go for what you like.
I think to our conversation we were having yesterday is, do you think you should put your preferences in your profile?
Should you advertise what your preferences are?
Because everybody has them, but should you put only into this? Or the opposite, but some people put no this, no that, none of these. Do you think that you should put those?
That's tacky as hell. No, I don't.
I think so too. I think so too. I don't think that's how you start a conversation.
And I know how that made me feel when I was trying to date on the apps and everything, going to a profile and seeing white guys only or Asian guys only or like when it comes to preferences, I don't mind people's preferences. I don't think you always have to advertise it, especially when it comes to race and the type of race you wouldn't date.
Yeah.
Like, if you put on there that you like hairy guys or that you prefer tall men or you're into redheads, like stuff like that doesn't faze me. It's more of like when it gets specific in what race you prefer to date.
Yeah, and that's a good point to bring up because I ran into that specific issue in my early years in Atlanta where I used to put the race I was primarily interested in, and that caused like a lot of arguments and debates about if I like myself, if I like my people and whatnot. But it is hard though, because example, like we talked about earlier, right? Let's say you're on a hookup app or you're on like the Tinders where it's more for conversation. If you're on a hookup app, you're going for a specific, I'm looking to hook up.
Right.
And you like what you like. So it's complicated because I fully get it, right? In the ideal world, I would love to put every specific thing I like. I'm into this. If you're not, don't contact me. But it doesn't work that way because someone's going to get upset. They're going to get in their feelings. The person outside the category is going to message you anyway. So it's complicated, but...
It's just so many boxes.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Everybody gets put on a certain box, and I don't think he'll be mad that I tell this story. Our one listener, Round Rock, he was he might be mad. I'll ask him afterwards. We can edit it out. But he's talking to this one dude.
Y'all are all a bunch of lawsuits away from just having nothing.
We have nothing. We have nothing now.
Sorry.
Okay, so he's talking to this dude, and basically the dude was like, "Oh, you're a soft top," and he was like,
"Whoa!"
He was like, "What the fuck is a soft top?"
What's this?
And he was like, "You're a top." But
that does drag?
You have emotions.
That's exactly what it is. You have emotion. You ask me how my day is. You're like,
you're a human being.
You're a human being.
Yes.
They want tops to just be these jackhammer.
Yeah.
Emotionless.
You know what? Some people want that.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
I think when you talk preference, like
no
what
soft
is a soft top?
No soft top.
That sounds like some addition to frozen yogurt or something.
Can I get the soft top?
Can I get the soft top? That's wild, bro. Or like really like romantic head. Like let me just get some soft top. Baby's give me soft top.
So it's a hard bottom a thing?
A power bottom.
That may have a different, like a hard bottom is like just come in, do it, and
a power bottom.
That's a power bottom.
Right. A power bottom.
A power bottom is somebody who can just take dick
They don't care
over and
who it
over
is.
and over.
I'm talking about like the bottoms that have no emotions.
Power bottom is power bottom is a technique. A hard bottom is a personality.
Yeah, that's true.
I get that. Power bottoms have because I've met some really nice power bottoms, and I keep them around for obvious reasons. But I've never heard that. A soft top. You're giving soft top today, and I need that. I need that. I didn't ask for that. That's not why I'm over here.
Oh, we need to put that on a shirt.
I think I'm a soft top.
It's giving soft top. Oh, girl. You might be a soft top now. We'll definitely give you growth. We'll definitely give you growth. But Antonio circa 2021. No, but like preference wise, I get that. I do think it's rude to put what you're not into in it, only because, and again, I'm way overthinking what a grinder bio has to be. Especially when all of my album pictures are just my penis, right? Like it's at some point you realize this isn't a LinkedIn profile. It's not gonna be this, you know what I'm saying? But I guess in my mind, I don't want to come off really negative up front with all the things I'm not into.
Sure.
Yeah. Somebody's like, absolutely no.
I think it just like I understand why people do those things because they want to make sure the people they are interested in see it and that they hit them up. But I guess my thing is, if you hit me up and I'm not interested, I just don't respond.
You just don't respond.
I just don't respond.
If they're continuing to do it, be like, I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm not interested. And then if they continue that, I just block you. Like to me, it's not, it's not that. Which I think what I've had to learn on the apps is, and what probably everybody, is just not to take some things personal.
Yeah.
Like to not, and I'm getting better at that. Trust me. Ask most of my Dallas friends before I moved to San Antonio. I was ready to fight everybody. But you have to learn like, hey, this is for a specific time and place, for a specific event to happen. It's not commentary on who you are. It's not commentary on what you're able to do or not able to do, or your value or worth. Which is why I think even with regular social media, you can't spend all your time on the apps.
No.
You have to get out. You have to have IRL relationships and friendships that can instill that value and worth in you. Because I don't think you'll find it on those apps.
No, and I feel like some of those guys that are rude online and stuff like that, they don't keep that same energy when you see them in person.
They don't.
They don't.
You definitely see them in person. They
really don't
sing a different tune in person.
Or some of these profiles you see on like Scruff, and they're these big dolls with all the emojis of eggplants and steaks and devils, and you a badass. You meet them in person, boy, stop.
Right.
What you think you gonna do with what? You better turn around. Stop playing with me.
Eggplants and steak.
Steak. I've never seen the steak.
I've seen the steak. Like they're like, oh, I'm just rough. I'm beefy. I'm just rough meat. Like, okay, you're Chipotle beef, baby. You been
as someone said on Twitter this morning, get out your feelings. There's no money in there.
There is no money in your feelings.
There's
no money in your feelings.
That's deep.
Absolutely.
Get out of there.
And we will end on that note. I hope everyone has enjoyed this topic this week and listening and continue to listen to us. We will see you next week.
And we want to thank our special guest, Daryl, for coming through.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This was
definitely
fun.
Need to have you back for sure.
Yay. I would love to come back. Thank you all.
And happy birthday, Dom.
And happy birthday, Dom.
Thanks, guys.